Hello, and thank you for joining us for a brief presentation concerning the great news we want to share with you about the North Carolina Superintendent Evaluation. Currently, the evaluation is a 5-step process, starting with Step 1, the Superintendent's Self-Assessment. Then, Step 2, the meeting between the Superintendent and the District School Board. Step 3, the Consolidated Performance Assessment. The superintendent will collect, analyze, and synthesize the information agreed upon with the board in Step 2 in order to prepare a comprehensive picture of performance throughout the year. This summary of the evidence and the documentation needed to judge performance should be provided to the board well in advance of the performance discussion at which the final performance levels will be discussed. In Step 4, the district school board rating of the superintendent will be performed. Members of the board will independently rate the superintendent's performance using the rubric for evaluating North Carolina superintendents. They will then meet to discuss their individual ratings and to agree upon a single rating for each of the standards and each element associated with the standard. The board should make every effort to achieve consensus on the superintendent's ratings. While this instrument is very comprehensive, many school systems opt not to use it at this time because it can be difficult to score. It is very paper-intensive and time-consuming. There are also potential errors in consolidating scores and comments, which may simply be user error due to the complexity, or some could be construed as bias. In other words, it can be an overwhelming tool for boards to use. Could there be an easier way, a way that doesn't require reams of paper or staff preparation time? An easier way for board members to review documentation and submit responses and comments? A faster and more effective way to tally the scores and comments to ensure no errors or bias? And a better way to document the intended actions at the goal-setting meeting, specifically due dates? A couple of years ago, NCSBA partnered with eBOARD Solutions to provide board governance tools at a special price for member districts in our state. This tool, called eBOARD, is historically used for school systems in North Carolina to manage board meeting agendas, although it can be used for so much more. One area that it can be used for is evaluations. However, due to the complexity of the North Carolina Superintendent Rubric, eBOARD just could not be used. We are pleased to announce that eBOARD now has integrated the North Carolina Superintendent Evaluation Rubric into the system. In the next few slides, we'll go through how this software can help your school system streamline and align the process so that it is more simplified and easier to implement. You will see that eBOARD's evaluation module will allow you to perform the same 5 steps we discussed earlier through a web-based tool that will streamline your work and make it more manageable. In the software, we have similar steps. You can see the icons for these steps here. Once the board and the superintendent have met and determined the timeline for the evaluation can be set up in eBOARD. Basically, the superintendent will just select the pre-created North Carolina Superintendent Rubric template and set up your board members as the reviewers. After the initial setup, then the superintendent would gather all of the evidence and supporting documentation. The superintendent can choose to link to evidence already managed in eBOARD, like performance measures in the strategic plan or specific meeting agendas from the meetings module. Additionally, this evidence can simply be text or any type of attachment or link to other websites. There is no need to print out packets, as the reviewer will be able to see the evidence as they go through the evaluation rubric. We'll show you this more closely in a minute. After the evidence has been loaded, then the superintendent can launch the evaluation to the board. Each board member will receive an email notification that the evaluation is ready. They can then log in to eBOARD and start working through the evaluation. Once logged in, the board member will see the evaluation rubric. They can then review the evidence for each standard and check off the appropriate descriptors which will record their ratings. They will also be able to submit comments for each standard. You will find that all comments will be listed when consolidated, but not attributed to any individual. We'll look at that more closely later. Be aware that board members do not have to complete the evaluation in one sitting. He or she can do a section at a time, save it, and come back to work on it later, and then submit when they are ready to submit their evaluation. After everyone has submitted their ratings and comments, they will come together as a group to review and discuss. They will see the tally of their ratings as well as a listing of the comments, but do not know who rated what or who made what comment. The group can then make overall comments and create action steps related to any of the assessment criteria. If, following the discussion, one or more board members would like to modify their response, the board chair can reopen the response option for those people. After an agreed upon time for ratings modifications, the response option will be closed. Once closed, the system will automatically retally the new results. eBOARD will also allow the group to work with the superintendent to record any needed action steps as the result of the evaluation. The software will allow you to align these action steps back to the district's overall goals, assign due dates, and who is responsible. These action steps can be exported as a report to add into the organization's strategic plan if needed. And lastly, when the evaluation is finalized, you can choose what types of reports are available and to whom. As you can see, eBOARD is a great tool for supporting the North Carolina Superintendent Evaluation process. But because it is part of a suite of tools, it can do much more. First of all, it can be used to do a variety of leadership evaluations, including board self-assessments, and can even help for preparing for district accreditation. School systems love how it can help the leadership team remain focused and keep their work aligned back to their strategic plan through their evaluations, strategic plans, policies, and even meeting agendas. And as you can see, it is a great way for districts to work smarter and greener since it is a completely paperless system. And finally, eBOARD supports the best practice of continuous improvement through its ability to generate action reports out of the evaluations. eBOARD also helps ensure transparency and accountability. Staff can easily collaborate on strategic plans and keep them updated. Share information as needed with the public or whomever needs access. eBOARD will help your organization defeat that big paper monster by eliminating the need to print meeting packets, updates of your strategic plans, or other documents that need to be shared publicly or to certain groups. If you'd like more information about eBOARD, and specifically the North Carolina Superintendent Evaluation process, please contact Ralph Warren, an NCSBA Master Board Trainer and your eBOARD consultant for the state of North Carolina.